Hello and welcome to week 22 of Workout Wednesday for Power BI 2021. My name is Megan Longoria and I'll be taking you through this week's solution. This week we are using data about the Nobel Prize. So we'll do a few things with this. The first is the data comes from an API that returns data in JSON format. So we're going to expand that out. And then we're going to use DAX to create a calculated table to summarize the data to get the first year and the last year of each award, and then calculate the number of awards in between, where it's one award per year. And then we're kind of going to make a timeline, like a Gantt chart, except we're going to do it by using a stacked bar, because some of the Gantt chart formatting doesn't work right or doesn't accommodate really long time frames that go over 100 years. So we're going to roll our own to end up with this. And then because of the way we rolled our own, we need to put a custom tooltip in there. So we're doing a report tooltip that shows first year, last year, and prizes awarded. Let's get started. I'm going to get data and go to web. And we provided a URL with the correct parameters in there, so you don't have to think about this part too much. And what's really cool about this, I'll go ahead and refresh that for you, is it's actually a JSON document. In fact, so this is our JSON document. This is what we're pulling back. But Power BI actually expanded this out for us. We didn't have to do anything. So we're starting with a mostly complete data set. We can see the award year, the category. We've got the category in a few different languages, and then the full official name, the Nobel Prize in physiology or medicine, and so on. So we don't necessarily need all of these columns. We don't need these links. We don't need the metadata. We don't need laureates. And we don't need these names that are in other languages. So the first thing we're going to do is get rid of any columns that end with .se or .no, and then get rid of all the meta and link columns. So that means I'm going to have a little fun in Power Query. You could manually go through and remove those columns, and that could be okay. But what I'm going to do is add a comma, keep going. I'm making a list of the columns, turning it into a table, filtering that table to only include the columns with names that end in .no or .se, or that start with links or meta. I'm calling that column 1, and then I'm just doing a remove column. So I'm taking my original result with the JSON expanded out and saying remove the columns that are in that list. So now we notice there's no .se, there's no links and meta, all that is gone. And that is the beginning of our data set. I'm just giving it a nice friendly name, and then I will close and apply. Now we have our data set over to the right, but we need to summarize because this is one row per award category per year right now. And what I need to put in a visual is 1 row per category only, and then get the min and max year. And you could probably switch these to dates and use some time intelligence, things like that, but you don't actually have to. So I'm going to go ahead and add one measure that is just prizes awarded. And then I'm going to start working on my summary table. So I'm going to do new table. And I'm going to add on to this, but I'm going to start with this. So I used summarize columns because it typically performs better than summarize, although this data set is pretty small, so you might not see a difference. But I'm grabbing certain columns, so category.en, the English name of the category, the full English name of the category, and then I'm getting the first year, so min, award year, the last year, the max award year, and I'm doing something special with this bar. We'll come back to it, but it's how I'm populating my visual with the timeline. And that's the same thing that I'm using awarded yes for. And then that measure we just made is number of prizes awarded. I'm going to go ahead and return that so you can see it. And that's going to actually be my first table visual. So I want to do a couple things first. We're actually going to do select columns because I'm going to rename these a bit. So we do select columns. So I renamed the category.en to award category, the next one to official category name, kept first year and last year the same bar, and then prizes awarded. So that fixes our names the way I want them in the end. And then I can do official category name, first year, last year. And that gets my table. So now I can see all of them except economic sciences started in 1901 and they haven't missed a year. Economic sciences started in 1969 and they haven't done them for 2021. So we're going to put that there. We'll format it in a second. What we need now is if we go back and look at the example, I'm making a timeline that goes from 1900 to 2020, and that's in our requirements. And I need a way to make this bar start midway at 1969. So I'm going to go ahead and update my DAX for this table. Okay, so we have our original table where I summarized columns and that got my data with the min and max. But now I'm paying more attention to this bar. So I'm getting the last year minus the first year. And then I'm just, for every row in here, saying awarded equals yes. And then I'm counting the prizes, which is 1 per year. But I'm adding another table to this. So summarize columns again, and I'm pulling a little bit different data. So we start with our categories, and then we're getting the min award year for all categories. So that's going to be 1900 for every row. And then the last year is if the min award year for the category equals the min award year for all categories, then we return min award year. Otherwise, we return min award year -1. So then we do this bar, and it's the min award year. This is the number of units we want the bar to represent. And this one, we're going to say awarded equals no. And the number of prizes awarded is going to be blank. But we only want the rows where bar is greater than 0. And then we've got the rename of our columns. But what we're renaming columns is we're unioning this data together. So what this turns out to be is we have our original rows that go from 1901 to 2020 and then 1969 to 2020, and we count those. And our bar is 51 units long from 69 to 2020. Then we added in some other rows that are 1901 to 1901 so that we can turn this into, get rid of first year, last year. Here's how this is going to work. We're going to do bar, and we're going to put awarded into the legend. So because we want our x-axis to represent the years, we need to add 1901 to it. But we don't want this to show up like a big gray bar because we're really just focused on what is currently the blue part. So we're going to do a couple things. We're going to switch our data color on no to be white. Then we're going to fix our x-axis to start at 1900. And you don't have to put an end date on it, but you could put 2020 if you wanted to. It won't change it. Then we hide our legend and fix our maximum size so the full label shows once we remove the title. We'll fix that in a second. We like our axis to be linear. That's how we get kind of the labels as they look now. And we'll turn off the bar. And then as I expand some of this stuff out, this will fix itself here. And I'm going to call this main page. And then I need to make my tooltip. For tooltips, we turn on tooltip, we change our size to tooltip, and then I just did a multi-row card, and I can hide my original table because everything is made of my summary table, and then do award category, first year, last year, prizes awarded. There we go. So the way that I made my report design was to import an image, and just do a bit of formatting. So I can turn the background off on that one. This one doesn't need totals. I went ahead and changed the style to none. Left my horizontal grid as is. I'm going to put a title on it. Make that a little smaller. Go find our column headers. Make sure those are the right color, and they are. Get our values to the right color. And then we don't need the outline, so I'm just making it white. Oh, and our first year and last year, they auto-summed, so we just need don't summarize. And then because of the way that we updated this table, we need to pull in awarded for that visual and say yes. And now we're back to normal. We'll make this line up a bit. Oh, I'm doing the short name there since we have the long name above. And then I'll get my title, which should be award category timeline. Make that 12. We'll make our data color our dark gray. I want to make my y-axis a bit darker and a bit larger. Same thing with the x-axis. Bit darker, bit larger. And then right now, if I hover over this, I'm going to get chemistry and then awarded yes, and then bar. And that's not what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and fix my tooltip. And it's going to be a report page. And I've made everything for Donna. And I'm going to do a little trick here to get my award categories sorted so economic sciences is at the bottom. Because if we just sort, like by bar, it's not going to do anything because all of the bars add up to the same number across the yes and no categories. So even though I have a tooltip report in here, I'm going to drag first year and set it to minimum, because then I can sort by the min of first year. So now economics is at the bottom, and now my tooltip still works. And then I made a text box. There's my title. Line things up a little bit here. Make this a little shorter. Then I just need to format my tooltip. So I'm going to do data labels, my category, make sure that's the right color. It is. Change my card title color. And change the bar color. I'm actually going to fix this the right way. Instead of being lazy, 1901, 2020. There we go. So now when I hover over, I get my little tooltip. Even when I'm hovering over the white spot, for economic sciences, I no longer get the unuseful information from the default tooltip. When I hover over the actual bar, it'll give me the correct answer. Hope you enjoyed this challenge. Let me know what you think on Twitter. Happy Workout Wednesday.